Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit today about a good discussion I had with a friend of mine today about making very big life decisions. We all have these points in time where you're coming up to a fork in the road. You've got a very big looming decision to make ahead of you, and of course, these are very, very difficult to contemplate and to rationalize and to feel like you're doing the right thing as you're approaching these junctures in life. And I wanted to share a little bit of perspective of the things that I've noticed and observed as I've come up and met these sorts of moments in my life. And after being through these things a fair deal of times, I have a little bit different way of thinking of things, maybe. There's two phases, okay, of making a big decision like this, right? Or coming up to some sort of big life decision, right? There is first and foremost, there's the data gathering stage, okay, the first stage, the logical stage, of course. And then there's the decision making stage. Right now, a lot of times the waters are very muddy. You're not really sure which way to go, what to do, which path is right, all this kind of stuff. And I think in most circumstances, what I've noticed about myself is like when I felt that way, I knew that I was still in the data gathering stage. I hadn't gathered enough data to equip myself to make that decision, whatever it might be. I haven't talked to enough people. I hadn't done enough research. I haven't dug deep enough on whatever the matter was and whatever the issue was. I was still needing more data. It was a very clear, alarm bell sounding in my brain saying like, hey, you're not quite ready to make a decision yet. You might be there, you might feel rushed, you might, all sorts of, things like that cross your mind. But most of the time you've got a little bit more time to work with. You can go out there and seek more data. You can gather more inputs. You can gather more insights. You can gather a little bit more that might help you make a sound decision or a decision that you can feel better about at the end of the day. And so there's a lot to be said for having this consciousness about yourself and your situation, just knowing where you're at in the mix with things, okay? If at all possible, never allow yourself to feel rushed to make a decision on a very big life situation, a very big fork in the road that's going to have ramifications that will last for years, that are going to impact your life in a very big way. Always try to get more data whenever possible, okay? And recognize when you're still in that data gathering stage. It really becomes apparent and clear in my eyes, in my experiences, the things that I've gone through is like, once you've gathered enough data, strangely enough, the decision-making stage becomes a lot more clear. It becomes a lot more, the path is just kind of lit up and it's just kind of illuminated. And oftentimes you'll have this feeling deep down in your gut and deep down inside your heart and your soul. You just know that, okay, after looking at all the options, all the data, all the things that I could gather about this, like it's pretty clear cut to me at this point which way I should go. And yes, that's of course ideal. Yes, that might sound very simple and, something we all should know, but believe me, like I've been there. It's hard to look at things this way when you're in the mix with things, when you're stressed out and you're all, your mind's going a mile a minute, but just try to slow down, guys. Try to remember this talk. Try to remember these two phases of what goes on when you approach a very big decision point or a very big fork in the road in your life, okay? Like I said a moment ago, you've got the data gathering stage and you've got the decision making stage. Learn to recognize when you're still in the data gathering stage and furthermore, do something about it. Go out and get more data. Put a little bit more work in. Put the effort in. Don't give up. Don't just make a decision in haste. Go out and get more data for yourself, because if you do that, you're going to be able to make a better decision. You're going to soon find yourself at that phase where you're like, okay, I feel ready to make a decision at this point, right? And that's a very sharp contrast to if you're stressing out about something, if you've got some big life issue, odds are you probably don't feel ready to make a decision because you don't know what you want to do in that very second, right? But that's a clear indicator of where you're at between these two extremes, the data gathering stage and the decision-making stage. And you need to get good at recognizing that line in the sand where it is for you in your life. And everybody makes decisions in different ways, and some people are good at making decisions with minimal amounts of data. I am not. I have always wanted to have as much data as I possibly could to know that I was making good, sound, solid, responsible decisions that were the best possible thing that I could do for my life at that point in time, with the data I was able to gather, with the information I had in hand at that very juncture when I needed to make a decision. That always made me sleep better at night. I felt a lot better about those sorts of things. And oftentimes I would never look back with regrets upon those situations where I knew I did all that I could do. I gathered all the data. I got the best, decision-making assessment I possibly could before I actually pulled the trigger and did something big with my life. Okay. So that's the point of the talk today, guys and girls. I hope that resonates with you. I hope you think about this next time you're coming up to a big fork in the road. Just think about this talk. And if you're feeling uneasy, go get some more data. Odds are, if you do that, even just a little bit more data, sometimes you're going to feel a lot bit better about a decision that you're going to eventually make on a situation. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.